Welcome to A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students, Lesson 359. God's answer is some form of peace. All pain is healed, all misery replaced with joy, all prison doors are opened, and all sin is understood as merely a mistake. Father, today we will forgive your world and let creation be your own. We have misunderstood all things, but we have not made sinners of the holy sons of God. I'll pause here and say, we can misunderstand and we can make mistakes, but we cannot turn God into a liar. That is where our ability ends. We have the ability to make mistakes and misunderstand. We do not have the ability to make God into a liar. What you created sinless so abides forever and forever. So are we. And we rejoice to learn that we have made mistakes, which have no real effects on us. And I'll pause here again and say the reason why this has no real effects on us is because, thank goodness, God's will reigns supreme. And God's will is that you are still as God created you. Unchangeable. In your goodness, in your beauty, in your perfection. And that is something the ego will never believe. Because were the ego to believe that, all of its lies would crumble. Its castle of fear would disintegrate before your very eyes. Its strong defense and fortress would turn into rubble overnight if you knew the truth of who and what you are, and of your true, limitless, and indomitable nature, your sovereignty. What you created sinless so abides forever and forever. Such are we. And we rejoice to learn that we have made mistakes which have no real effects on us. Sin is impossible, and on this fact forgiveness rests upon a certain base more solid than the shadow world we see. Help us forgive, for we would be redeemed. Help us forgive, for we would be at peace. I'll pause here and say, help us forgive, for we would be redeemed. Is all this talk about forgiveness much ado about nothing? Or is this the key to all of our happiness and peace? God's answer is some form of peace. Peace is the one feeling that the ego, the adversary, whatever dark forces there may be, cannot counterfeit because it doesn't have any. It does not know peace, and it cannot confer it onto you. And I'm talking about real peace, that stillness, that knowing that everything is as it should be, and everything is right, and we don't need to go out and force or compel or make others afraid, or use our might to get our way. Only a very fearful being behaves in such a way. Because someone who knows that they stand with God, whole and complete, indomitable, and is completely unafraid, doesn't need those shenanigans. God's answer is some form of peace. All pain is healed, all misery replaced with joy. All prison doors are opened, and all sin is understood as merely a mistake. Can we forgive our fellow dreamers that they dreamt nightmares, that they were lost in ego? For me, speaking of my own personal experience and doing some soul research and going inward and looking at what was going on in there, I realized I had a couple secret fears with really crossing through the door, leaving hell, entering heaven while still here. And one fear was that I would be leaving people I loved behind. And another fear, these are opposing fears. Love opposes nothing, but fear opposes everything. So you're always going to find opposing fears. Another fear, it sounds so silly to say it out loud, petty and small, and it is. It was that if I entered into heaven and forgave everyone, then I was letting everyone off the hook. I needed to stay in hell and make sure that they paid for their sins. Sounds like a really stupid idea. And it is. Because the truth is, when you receive the truth, when you are the truth, when you are the love that you seek, you will find your love burning like the sun that shines on everything. In the world of man, cause and effect comes into play, and you can call that karma, you can call that the law of the harvest. In truth, we each let ourselves off of the hook when we're done suffering. And we're taught in a workbook for students, God is perfectly willing that that moment be right now. Because God loves all of God's children, all of God's beautiful emanations. And isn't saying, that kid should suffer some more. That kid really, yeah, they kicked so much dirt in the other kids' faces when they were out playing in the sand that I don't want that kid to come home. Your ego will resist that truth, but your soul will welcome it. And we get to choose whether to side with fear or love. I love you. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you tomorrow for lesson 360.